thank God for giving me my own personal Superman.
The final farewell to George Floyd in his hometown of Houston. Music, tears, emotional testimony. Floyd's niece delivered a passionate eulogy.
You should have felt his pain. No one should feel this pain.
Reverend Al Sharpton calls for more action. Former Vice President Joe Biden shared a moving message. And the Houston mayor announcing important changes for his police force.
As demands for police reform grow louder, more alleged cases of police brutality from Oklahoma to Texas come under scrutiny after newly released videos of deadly force.
On the attack, the president pushes an unfounded conspiracy theory about the 75-year-old who was shoved by Buffalo police, still hospitalized. His friends speak out to GMA as Republicans struggle to defend the president. Governor Cuomo slams the comments.
You think the blood coming out of his head was staged? Is that what you're saying?
This morning, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who supports defunding the police, joins us live.
Election chaos in Georgia. Investigations now underway after a primary day rife with problems fueled by coronavirus and the concerns now about the November election.
An ABC News exclusive. Dr. Anthony Fauci calling the coronavirus pandemic his worst nightmare. The big concerns about the virus spreading at those crowded nationwide protests. Cases in the U.S. reaching nearly 2 million, with infections still climbing in 20 states. Dr. Fauci joins us live this morning only on GMA.
Major break in the case of those missing Idaho siblings. Their stepfather arrested. Idaho authorities and the FBI search his property, saying they've made a grim discovery.
And uncomfortable conversations with a black man.
You have to acknowledge that there's a problem.
Millions watching former NFL star Emmanuel Acho's inspiring new series, asking the world to let your guard down and listen. He joins us live this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. Hope you're well this Wednesday morning. And boy, we are looking forward to those conversations with Emmanuel Acho. So important to be having them right now, even, Amy, when they do get a bit uncomfortable.
That's right. And so many issues are being addressed. They're being confronted across the country amid the nationwide protests in the wake of George Floyd's death. House Democrats are re-pushing to remove Confederate statues in the halls of Congress as the U.S. Navy moves to ban the public displays of the Confederate flag, Robin.
So many, Amy, demanding change. Take a look at this sign of solidarity. Black Lives Matter projected on the National Cathedral in our nation's capital. And in Houston, that emotional homegoing for George Floyd. Hundreds packing the church in his hometown to celebrate his life, with millions more watching on television and online. TJ Holmes is there in Houston and joins us now with more. Good morning, TJ.
Hey, good morning to you, Robin. And again, this was a long farewell. Remember, he had several George Floyd emotional memorial services all over the country over the past couple of weeks. But this was the final farewell in his hometown. And this was part grief and part grievance.
Inside the Fountain of Praise Church, a moving, joyful, tearful celebration of the life of George Floyd by those who knew him best.
In the tradition of the African American church, this will be a homegoing celebration.
Outside, law enforcement officers standing at attention and saluting as his gold coffin was carried inside. There was music, gospel music, a live painting of a portrait of Floyd set to the performance of A Change Is Gonna Come. As friends and family remembered the man we've all come to know as a gentle giant.
A change gonna come. I want justice for my brother, my big brother.
Floyd's niece, Brooke Williams, delivering a passionate eulogy, saying her uncle's death was not just murder, but a hate crime.
You should have felt this pain. No one should feel this pain.
The service also included a pre-recorded message from presidential candidate and former Vice President Joe Biden, who met privately with Floyd's family for more than an hour Monday.
Unlike most, you must grieve in public. And it's a burden that is now your purpose to change the world for the better. In the name of George Floyd.
And the eulogy from Reverend Al Sharpton.
If 4 blacks had done to 1 white, if 4 black cops had done to 1 white,
what was done to George, they wouldn't have to teach no new lessons. And until we know the price for black life is the same as the price for white life, we're going to keep coming back to these situations over and over again.
Then, one by one, calling on the families who have shared the Floyd family's anguish.
The mother of Trayvon Martin, will you stand? The mother of Eric Garner, will you stand?
His life mattered. All our lives matter. Black lives matter. His death would not be in vain. What's his name?
We spoke afterwards with attorney Ben Crump, who's representing the families of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor.
Do you expect the city to settle with this family in some way?
George Floyd is so deserving of the humanity that those police officers didn't give them, and maybe the elected officials from Minneapolis will. But if not, we're going to go take the justice.
And again, after that service, again, it was a 3.5-hour service yesterday, but afterwards he was taken to a cemetery, and George Floyd is now resting in peace. And Robach, he is laying next to his mother. He was buried next to his mother at the cemetery.
TJ, thank you for that. And as the nation says goodbye to George Floyd, some parts of the country are moving to work towards police reform. This is more alleged cases of police brutality are now coming under scrutiny after newly released videos of deadly force. Alex Perez has more now from Minneapolis. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning, Amy. It's now been a little more than 2 weeks since the world first saw that video showing what happened to George Floyd. Since then, a number of new videos from across the country, all alleging police misconduct.
This morning, demands for police reform across the country growing louder as an avalanche of alleged cases of police brutality now under scrutiny. In Oklahoma, 13 months after the death of Derek Ali Scott in police custody,
I don't care.
The body cam finally released.
I'm gonna tase you.
His family seeing it for the first time.
Oh, please hurt me. They treated him so unhuman. Like he was an animal. I can't breathe.
He died at the hospital. Police cleared all officers involved of any wrongdoing. Austin police releasing this body cam footage Monday of the death of Javier Ambler 14 months ago. His last cries heard just before he's tased a fourth time. Ambler's death was originally classified a justifiable homicide. The county sheriff's department said the officers did not violate pursuit or use of force policies. The incident, which ended after a 22-minute police chase, now back under investigation. All this as calls to defund the police intensify. L.A. announcing major cuts to police funding, Seattle considering a 50% reduction, and New York redirecting funds to youth programs and moving a bill forward that would ban chokeholds. And overnight, New York lawmakers overturning a 44-year-old law that shielded police personnel records from public view. If Governor Cuomo signs the bill, police departments will be required to disclose officer complaints and disciplinary records.
And in D.C. today, Democrats will begin hearings on a sweeping police reform bill. One of George Floyd's brothers is expected to testify. George?
Okay, Alex, thanks. At the White House, President Trump is taking heat after tweeting an unfounded conspiracy theory about the 75-year-old Buffalo protester shoved to the ground by police. The protester is hospitalized. 2 officers have been charged with assault. Stephanie Ramos is in Buffalo with the latest. Good morning, Stephanie.
George, good morning. This is where protester Martin Gugino was pushed, just a few feet away from where we're standing. The attorney for one of the police officers that pushed him tells us Gugino walked up to officers as they were trying to clear the area, but officers were supposed to keep that formation moving along, stopping for no one. This morning, new fallout after this encounter between 75-year-old Martin Gugino and the police officers that shoved him to the ground during protests in Buffalo, New York. Officers seen walking past Gugino before state police medics get to him. Gugino's friends tell us he is known as a peace activist, praised for his work in climate change and racial equality. When you saw the video, him being kind of shoved to the ground, what went through your mind?
shock. I immediately thought, oh my God, I think that's our member, Martin Gugino.
President Trump now pushing a conspiracy theory about Gugino on Twitter, saying that he could be an Antifa provocateur, adding, I watched, he fell harder than was pushed. Republicans were already mostly silent about Trump's handling of protests, but this latest tweet stumping them even more.
What do you make of the president's tweet this morning?
Makes no sense that we are fanning the flames.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo calling the Antifa allegation fabricated.
You think the blood coming out of his head was staged? Is that what you're saying? How reckless, how irresponsible, how mean, how crude.
Gugino remains in the hospital recovering from his head wound. His friends tell us he is not an agitator.
He is a man of peace, a man of justice, a man of principle, and a truly caring and loving individual.
Both officers involved are charged with felony assault. Gugino's attorney tells us, quote, he wishes no ill will against the officers. George.
Okay, Stephanie, thanks very much. We're joined now by New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us this morning. I do want to begin with that tweet from the president yesterday. We saw most Republicans did not want to comment. What did you think when you saw it?
I mean, it was horrendous and horrific. The president targeted a 75-year-old man, justice-loving man who wanted to stand up for his neighbors and wanted to stand up for his fellow Black Americans and making sure that everyone is treated equally in the eyes of the law. And to target him when everyone saw on video exactly what happened is just such a reprehensible act. And it just goes to show how far we have to go in the fight for justice in this country.
Let's talk more about that right now. The White House is taking you on for supporting the defund the police movement. But it's not just President Trump. You know, Joe Biden doesn't support defunding the police either. This morning he writes in USA Today, the better answer is to give police departments the resources they need to implement meaningful reforms and to condition other federal dollars on completing those reforms. What's wrong with that argument?
Well, I think in a lot of different places in America, we experience very different realities with the police. Here in New York City, and I happen to represent the Bronx, I have Rikers Island here in my own district. And the New York City Police Department has a $6 billion a year budget. That is more than we spend on youth, housing, healthcare, and homelessness combined in New York City. And so the problem is not a lack of resources here. In fact, many folks here in our community say that the problem is the opposite, is that not enough resources are being put into the very kinds of social programming and investments that prevent crime and social discord in the first place. And so what a lot of folks are talking about when it comes into this movement is that they're asking for the same budget priorities that many affluent suburbs already have. And it may sound strange, but many affluent suburbs have essentially already begun pursuing a defunding of the police in that they fund schools, they fund housing, and they fund healthcare more as their number one priorities.
But why is it necessary to take the money from the police? I mean, I understand your argument, the argument you're making about expanding social services, investing in social services, but the research does show that more police on the street means less crime.
Well, I think there's one question that is interesting here is that when it comes to funds, it's not always just about the number of officers in the street. It's about these police precincts that have tanks, that have military weaponry, and frankly have a degree of material resources and warlike weaponry that people ask, why does a local police precinct have this in the first place? So when we talk about defunding, it can show up in multiple ways. Additionally, the other way that we talk about, in this is that when people ask for healthcare, when they ask for housing, when they ask for education, people always say, how are you going to pay for it? And so what this movement is doing, first and foremost, it's important to note that this is directed at city councils and mayors. And so you should look to see if your city is having this conversation. But first, and the other question here too is, I think it's a valid question for people to ask, what should be our number one budget priority at all? Does any agency deserve to be funded more than almost all the others for healthcare, housing, and youth combined.
But what do you
and so
say?
These are
Excuse me, sorry. What do you say to your fellow Democrats who say the slogan defunding the police gets in the way of the argument you're making? You've even got the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Karen Bass, saying it's a distraction.
Yeah. Well, we can't necessarily, I don't think we can control what is happening right now in this moment, right? Our job as elected officials is to listen. And we can't control that everyone is going out in the street and saying Black Lives Matter. And just a few years ago, everyone said that Black Lives Matter polled poorly, that it was divisive, that it required too much explanation. But these are everyday people going out into their communities saying, this is what we want for ourselves and for our city council budgets. But, what I do think is incredible, and the incredible work that House leadership has done, is that they have listened and they've introduced a sweeping bill in the Justice and Policing Act. And what Congress is trying to do is create a national registry of officers that have engaged in gross misconduct to make sure that they can't run away from accountability by hurting someone in one precinct, leaving, and then getting hired at another one.
Congresswoman, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Robin?
All right, George, thank you very much. And now the other major story this morning, the election chaos in Georgia. Investigations ordered this morning after a primary day that was hit with a series of problems that was fueled by the pandemic. Polls had to be extended in an effort to allow everyone to vote. Steve Osunsami is there in Atlanta and will tell us what went wrong. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Robin. No question, this was a disaster, and a lot of anger this morning is being directed at the Secretary of State. He's blaming the counties are blaming him. He's calling for an investigation into what the counties did wrong. There were long lines as late as midnight in both black and white neighborhoods. And while it is very easy for Democratic lawmakers and other figures to say this was all about race and an intent to suppress the vote, that's not a fair telling of what happened in this particular vote. The coronavirus is more to blame. Poll workers, many of them seniors who were afraid of getting sick, failed to show. Polling precincts that were at churches, assisted living centers, and senior centers had to be moved. Both of those things happened because of the coronavirus. And these things happened in blue counties run by Democrats who were well aware of these issues before yesterday. Fulton County admits that it lost thousands of requests for absentee ballots. In a statement addressing this, Fulton County's Director of Elections says they've identified areas of improvement. They need to get this together, of course, before the election in November. George?
Yeah, less than 5 months away. Okay, Steve, thanks very much. We were following a lot of other stories this morning, including our ABC News exclusive with Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's going to speak with Robin live with the latest on those growing concerns over coronavirus spreading at the protests.
And then the major break in the case of the missing Idaho siblings, their stepfather now in custody. But first, let's go to Ginger.
Violent, potentially damaging winds could move through eastern Michigan, northern Ohio, Toledo, you're included, Fort Wayne, up to Bad Axe, Michigan, but all the way through western New York. I'll have more coming up. First, though, the Sunny Cities, brought to you by Subaru.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank #1? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June 30th.
Under a partly sunny sky, today is going to be hot and very humid. High temperature today, 92 degrees. We're going to warm quite quickly. And notice, too, there's a chance for some thunderstorms. But first, let's focus on the heat. Already by noon today, 96, triple-digit readings throughout the entire afternoon. So stay hydrated. Storm chances today better north and west of the area. Frederick County, Maryland to Frederick County, Virginia, 5 to 10 p.m. Better chance of rain tomorrow morning. Storms for the mid to early afternoon.
Fauci is coming right up. Stay with us.
A lot of folks are asking me lately how to get their dishes as clean as possible. I tell them, you should try Cascade Platinum plus the power of Oxy. Cascade Platinum plus Oxy breaks down food soils, some detergents,